Okay, so what was the chapter we were on? Doesn't squeak.
I think we finished the first two chapters, didn't we?
Yeah, so this would be chapter 3, the Moonlight Drama. Did you want to read all Silas's parts? Oh gosh, this has some naughty words in it. Naughty words. Heidi's over there going, yes!
I like naughty.
She likes naughty.
She's a PhD of naughty.
Okay, so chapter 3 of the Ardent Sorcerer.
Chapter 3, Moonlight Drama. Silas was awoken by the jarring screams of women and angry, heavy footfalls against the wooden floorboards of the manor. He recognized Dendel's annoying lilt, and after a moment of stillness, he heard doors being thrown open and slammed shut. Ezra Briggs snored soundly in the other bed on the opposite side of his bedroom chamber. In the moonlight, Silas saw Peter, Ezra's young attendant, seated on the floor by the door, picking at a small hole in the wall. A lad his age should have a warm place to sleep, but not with two grown men. Silas tossed the boy a blanket, not a word of thanks in return. He wasn't certain of what purpose Peter served. Silas was almost afraid to ask. Evelyn didn't have certain moral codes, yet those rules weren't always followed. Did have certain moral codes, yet those rules weren't always followed. Now Silas had heard more raised voices from below. He recognized Sabina's voice shouting in anger. He took his housecoat and slipped it on over his long nightshirt. He opened his palm to illuminate the dark corridor of the manor with his magic spark of light. Quietly, Silas latched his door behind him and listened.
There's a picture.
He heard Sabina on the first floor, pounding against her chamber door.
Oh, let me in. 'Tis my chamber, thou bloody witch.
Silas paddled down the staircase and into the corridor. Later's flame caused her to appear as an apparition near the alcove. She wore only her night shift. Her hair spilled its full length in wavy tresses down her back. She held a ceramic jug in her hand.
Come out of my chamber at once, thou deceitful bitch, before I afflict thee with an incurable pox. I am a sorceress, and I stand firm my ground, Sabina raged. She pounded her palm against the door and shook the latch. Shove off, lovey, came a muffled voice from the other side, for I too am a pretty sorceress lady, and I shall cause thy bubbies to turn blue and fall off, thou foul-clotted, bloody monkey's rear.
Sabina, what is the trouble? Silas asked. Silas had never seen Sabina that angry.
That horrible witch, she knocked on my chamber door, troubling me to fetch a pitcher of water for her. She hath claimed to me that Dendel refuses to abide, that I must go do it. Upon my return, she hath entered my room and locked me out.
Silas cleared his throat. Ithea, there appears to be a misunderstanding. Silas called to the door. Thou was to sleep upstairs with Dendel.
Nay, no with Dendel. Bah! This is mine quarters. Thou givest me courtesy of good room and good bed, nice and soft, came the reply from the other side.
Sabina had set the pitcher down. She pressed fingers against the door in an attempt to unlock it with her magic.
This would be
Ithea,
Silas.
'tisn't fair to thine hosts and hostess to upheave dear Sabina from her chambers. It's only her night shift in the cold. Perhaps I may request that Dendel prepare a guest chamber for thee. Silas realized that Sabina's bare curves were visible through her night shift. He hastened to cover her with his housecoat. It seemed a noble thing to do.
Be gone, demanded a voice from the other side of the door, and let the door remain as locked, thou haft English trollop.
There was a loud snap. Sabina jumped away, clenching her fists in pain.
Insolent, rank, base-born hedgehog, Two may play at that game. Sabina pointed her fingers at the door. She tensed every muscle to deliver a spell into the room through the door.
Silas heard Ithea's wails and screams rise until Sabina ceased.
Let that serve as a warning. I shall inflict more serious harm to thee until thou hast vacated my chambers anon, Sabina said.
After a moment, Ithea screamed louder.
I bleed, ugh! Thou makest me bleed, thou stinking, dirty cunty.
There was a loud crash.
What was that? Sabina asked. The voice replied from within. Was that a pretty painting of thine mother, lovey? What about these crystal idols and wooden animals? I step on them. Prithee, Sabina cried at the door. Don't destroy my mother's things, I beg thee.
Something crunched, followed by ripping and crumpling sounds.
That is for the blood that came out of my nose, and that is for the blood that came out of mine arse. Ithea shouted inside the chambers. Sabina's voice quivered. My star chart. I agonized o'er that for years.
Ithea, 'tis a misunderstanding, Silas called into the room.
Nay, misunderstood, apprentice Strathern master. She called back in her thick dialect as she tore something else.
Thou must, for love of Thomas Graves, sleep! Silas gave in and cast his own incantations. There was a loud thud from within the room. Ithea had hit the floor.
Boom! Sabina tried to open the door, but it was jammed solid.
Silas also shook the handle. She hath sealed the chamber door with her incantation. At least she shan't harm another of thy treasure belongings.
Sabina retreated to the window alcove under the staircase, which overlooked the shade garden. She pulled back the drapes and sat on the cushions of the window seat with her knees drawn up.
The least Silas could do, besides leave her with his housecoat, was to get her a blanket from the storage room. The storage room was big enough to use as a guest room. He might consider the latter when he becomes lord over Willowbend.
Easter egg.
Too many guests come to visit.
Easter egg. Sabina muttered. Gramercy. You know what? I had a big space right there. It doesn't even need to be there. Okay. That's not important.
Editor moment. Dee.
Yeah, editor moment. Okay. Sabina muttered. Gramercy when Silas handed the throw blanket to her.
He was certain she was weeping. He left her alone to return to his own bed. He did all that he could to help her.
Hello. I don't know what that is. Delivery. Special delivery.
This moment was brought to you by Amazon.
There's for you.
It is. It's my shoe inserts. Because I've got the flat feet of an Irish beat cocktail chin. You're all interested in my footwear and my lack of arches, weren't you? You were. Okay. He chose not to wake the poor lad. Instead, he returned to the first floor. He descended the old flighted staircase. The timbers creaked under his cold, bare feet. He allowed his fingers to trail along the molding of the ornate handrail. He launched from the foyer in through the parlor, pushed open the heavy double doors to the library, and entered within. He padded toward the sofa and stretched out. He would need to sleep, for in the morrow Silas would have much to do. He felt a chill and drew his bare leg against himself under the warmth of his nightshirt. He resembled a new infant in need of a swaddle. He needed sleep.
Ignite.
Silas's eyes opened to Sabina's incantation. She spoke a flame into the hearth, and soon the corner of the library became bathed in crimson and gold light from glowing embers. Silas was no longer cold as the heat filled the space around them. He sat up. Sabina, wherefore hast thou followed me within? Silas asked.
She had been weeping. She had a blanket he had given her earlier draped over her arm. She sat beside him and shared it with him. At least it shields Silas's knees from the heat that radiated from the hearth.
Thou must get some sleep by now. The company shall be gone in a day or two. He stopped talking when he realized that she was sobbing softly into her palms. He gathered her close under his arm. He felt terrible for her. You'll be feeling something else shortly too, I bet.
I hope so.
By now, whatever that ghastly beast of a woman is gone from hither, I promise I shall fix all that she hath broken and destroyed.
She shook her head. 'Twasn't that, Silas. Her body trembled. All my life I have prepared for the day when I may go and live amongst my mother's people. I've read stories about the new Americas, St. James, the warm, balmy air, the southern sea, and the good people and their ancient wisdom.
'Tis nary all wisdom, by now. Alas, much outlandish superstition and witchcraft. I've seen with mine own eyes. Thou art educated with greater understanding and knowledge. He drew her close. He could smell the scent of rosemary and peppermint in her hair.
Oh, I fear thou failest to understand, Silas. I belong thither. I am to learn amongst the people of mine own heritage. Alas, I chanced to finally meet another woman of the Meridian with features likened to my own mother's. However, that scoundrel of a witch is more akin to be a spawn of Hades with a soul bitter with venom. Venom. Sabina wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I had always dreamt that when the day came to walk amongst another Meridiano, I would feel at home, like the same kindness offered by my mother before she left this world. For hither and in Edenland and in Taylorstown, although I am born to a nobleman, Lord Epaphroditus Whitley, sorcerer of the 11th degree, to which I can ne'er live up to such a name, e'en under the willow bend crest of graves. By all rights, I should be half an English noblewoman. She's illegitimate.
Not legit.
She's not legit. A rightful heir to a fortune, a name, a place in this society I was born into. She choked, then shook her head. Nay, mine own heritage hath deceived me. My skin, my hair, my eyes speaketh too swarthy to be English, and whenas amongst the Meridiano, I am told I am a half English trollop.
Silas tried to calm her down with shushing sounds. I don't know how shushing would calm anyone. But whatever. That's more like shushing her than making her be quiet. He never realized that this was a burden she bore. He always felt she had accepted her situation. Shh, 'tis but one depraved old
Peatly Haggai.
Peatly Haggai.
I just made that up.
That sounds really fancy. Peatly Haggai. Only one like her. None other have I met possessing her qualities. And I have been to those islands, and 'tis troth the native Meridional people are mostly kind as thy mother was.
I miss her, she lamented, resting her head against his shoulder. Soon my father shall be gone too, Silas. His infirmity shall take him, and I will see to his burial and take my leave from this place.
He released a long, heavy sigh. Sabina, sleep.
Her
Her body became limp as he eased her back into the sofa. He kissed her forehead. Sabina, I prefer thou shan't to go. These guys are dropping magical roofies all over the place today. He extinguished the fire, then lay down on the floor beside her and fell asleep.
Okay. And there.